The year is 1970, and NASA launches its third manned lunar landing mission, Apollo 13. Fred Haise is lunar module pilot. As we headed for the moon, we had a report that a couple of our fuel cells had just been damaged. So this could actually put our lives at risk, and this could prevent us from coming back to Earth. After hearing about the malfunction, the crew of Apollo 13 head back to Earth in an emergency. We didn't eat anything, we didn't drink anything, we did not even sleep. We were so nervous about getting home and whether our lives would be safe. And as we were on a trajectory to intercept the Earth, I started feeling slightly ill and some pain in the abdominal area, and I thought maybe there was some sort of disease in the spacecraft. On April 16th, the crew miraculously made it back to Earth alive. As we miraculously landed, I immediately went to a doctor, and I told him about my conditions and about this sort of disease that I contracted. Fred Haise contracted a deadly bacterial disease known as Pseudomonas aeruginosa, but he isn't alone. About 50% of all Apollo astronauts develop a bacterial, viral, or protozoan infection within a week of returning to Earth. As I spoke with my doctor, he told me that it is very common for astronauts to get a bacterial disease because the spacecraft is an enclosed, isolated area, which could be a perfect location for bacteria to reproduce and affect their hosts. Pseudomonas aeruginosa can be found on skin, water, soil, and even Earth's atmosphere. The symptoms of this disease are inflammation and sepsis, as well as pain and swelling. If this bacterium affects any vital body organs, the results can be fatal. In Fred Haise's case, the bacterium infected his urinary tract. Haise contracted this disease mainly because of dehydration and because of direct contact with one of the urinary pouches in the spacecraft. Because I was so nervous on this space flight, I did not drink a lot of water and I became dehydrated. And that was the number one cause as to why I received this disease in the first place. In order to eliminate pathogens that have entered the bloodstream, the body uses the immune system, which contains 3 barriers to help destroy unwanted pathogens. In the human body, the skin, or the first line of defense, is a barrier which blocks out unwanted pathogens from entering the body. In large openings such as the mouth and the nose, mucous membranes and cilia help to block out unwanted diseases. Inside of the skin, oil glands produce an acidic environment, instantly killing any bacteria that try and transgress and go through the skin. The body usually secretes hormones such as saliva or tears to help wash away unwanted pathogens. These hormones contain lysosomes, an organelle used to break down certain substances. In Fred Haise's case, the bacterium entered the body through the urethra. In case the pathogens enter the body, as in Fred Haise's case, the second line of defense is used to fight the pathogen. The second line of defense is found in the bloodstream, where a variety of different cells help attack the pathogen. One of these cells is called a macrophage, a type of phagocyte which engulfs the invader and uses lysosomes to eliminate it. The second cell is called a neutrophil. These cells are much smaller than macrophages, but use the same technique, killing the pathogen by engulfing it. However, the neutrophil is killed in the process. A third type of defensive cells are known as natural killer cells, which destroy the body's infected cells by piercing holes into them and secreting poisonous chemicals. When these cells are released to fight the infection, an inflammatory response occurs. This causes redness in the infected area and causes it to swell. This causes more phagocytes to go to the area, as well as more proteins to help seal off the area in case other pathogens enter. In the third line of defense, cells called antibodies attack specific invaders known as antigens. When the antibodies spot an antigen, they bind to it and put a specific tag on it, which causes phagocytes to come and destroy the antigen. One of these antibodies is known as a lymphocyte, which is a type of white blood cell and originates from bone marrow. There are two kinds of lymphocytes, B cells and T cells. B cells bind to a specific antigen and release plasma cells, which then engulf and destroy the antigen. This results in immunity. T cells bind to a specific antigen and release cytotoxic T cells, which are clones of the original T cell. The cytotoxic T cells then kill other cells by piercing them and injecting a protein called perforin, which causes the infected cell to release fluids, which then diminishes the entire cell. This results in cell-mediated immunity. Suppressor T cells help to control the amount of T cells once the infection is fought. If the immune system is too weak to fight the infection, vaccines are used to help create more antibodies in order to help destroy the invading pathogens. Vaccines are composed of dead or very weak antigens which trigger an immune response. This immune response helps to create more antibodies to fight the fake infection, which will then help to fight the real infection. Unfortunately, for Pseudomonas aeruginosa, most vaccines or antibiotics will not work to help fight against the infection. In order to destroy the bacteria growing in Haise's system, scientists use a process called catheterization, in which a tube is inserted into the urinary tract to extract from the growing colony of bacteria. This eliminates most of the bacteria growing in Haise's urinary tract, but can sometimes be a very painful process. It was very painful, but it was the only way to cure me from this bacteria. For the remaining few bacterial cells in Haise's body, doctors used the antibiotics polymyxins and monobactams to destroy the remaining bacterial cells. I am quite lucky to survive this disease because the bacterial cells, they could have just, spread on to my internal body systems and they could have done a lot of damage, but they didn't. And I, think it's just amazing what the human body can endure.